Yeah, I should probably be asking for professional development hours for how much ballet is feeding into my career as a teacher. Hello YouTube world, long time no talk. Usually when I make videos, I make them with the intent for my use in the classroom, but it's good information and so it's helpful for any students, parents, or teachers in the middle school community out there who might stumble upon them. But you could probably tell that the topic of this video is a little bit different. I just returned from Catherine Morgan and Friends Adult Ballet Summer Intensive, and it was one of the best experiences of my adult life, and I have this inspiration. I'm still really riding very high on this inspiration and wanted to share my thoughts with the ballet community, with any of my students that might be watching this. And also this video could serve some purpose in my classroom because I guess it's kind of a video essay, and I do offer that option once in a while for my students depending on the project, and they can use this as a sample. And while I'm still addressing my members of my audience who are my students, current, former, soon to be, if you're wondering kind of where do your teachers draw from in order to do what they do in the classroom, you might learn a little bit about what I draw on in this video. And also just the overall message of this video isn't only about ballet, it's about anything that you love to do. My students who are young, a lot of what you love to do is going to be hard to find time to do when you're an adult, especially because if you're not going to be a professional figure skater, if you're not going to be a professional artist, a lot of these things become difficult to find time for. And my hope for you is that you continue to keep these things in your life. You find a way. Maybe you can't do it as often as you did as a kid, but finding time to do it regularly, because when you find something that you love, and that you don't get paid for, that you don't do professionally, but when you find it, keep it in your life. If it makes you feel like a kid again, if it makes you feel like a learner and a master at the same time, do it. And hey, if it's something that you didn't try until adulthood, awesome, because even adults can start something new and get really great at it, and even if you don't get really great at it, you could still love to do it. So that's my overall message. So before I talk about why the ballet world should be nurturing the adult ballet community, I just want to talk about what does nurturing the adult ballet community look like. And much of this work is actually done in the smaller local studios. However, if this work is done in those smaller local studios, it does ripple out to the local dance shops, to the local small ballet companies and the big ballet companies and the big ballet corporations. It can have a really big impact on the overall ballet world to nurture grown-up dancers. So the first thing is offering classes for adults at all levels. You have to offer beginner classes. That is our entry point. But what are you going to do with a grown-up dancer who's been taking your beginner class for 6 months to a year? You know, and if they're taking that class, you know, a year later, when you've got a brand new dancer showing up to that class and it's their first time, the differentiation becomes very difficult. And so you should be offering advancement opportunities for that adult. Hopefully you're offering an advanced ballet class for adults, but if you don't have room in your schedule for that, invite that adult to a level of class even that is appropriate for them, even if the dancers are younger. It's the adult just wants to study ballet. They don't care if the dancers in the room are younger than them. I have teens sometimes show up to our adult classes, and that's awesome. They're wonderful to dance with. Another advancement opportunity that ballet studios should be offering adults in order to nurture them is the opportunity to go on point. If an adult shows the flexibility, strength, and the work ethic, and the devotion and love for ballet that's required to go on point and continue studying ballet through that new area, try to offer it. And then last is providing performance opportunities to adults. And I don't just mean like throwing the adult in like the stiff costume and putting them in the back of the dance number, or having the adult play the mother of the prince and that's it. Like, let the adult show their ballet, let them show their technique, let them share what they've been spending so much time in class learning, because we want to share that with an audience. Maybe not all adults want this, but having that opportunity means so much and makes us feel so included. Because the chances are, our loved ones are curious, and we want to share what we've been learning with our loved ones. And even if you can't wait, your studio doesn't do big performances at a theater, even an in-studio like recital night and getting to have that formal opportunity to share with our loved ones and share with an audience what we've been learning means so, so much to us. And for me, I am so, so lucky to have found a studio near me that does all of this, and a wonderful teacher and business owner who is also a really, really great coach. And I wish what I have for all of my ballet besties out there. So now I want to get into the whys of why, especially small studios, but the greater ballet world in general should be nurturing grown-up dancers. I follow a lot of ballet companies. I follow a lot of ballet publications and corporations on my Instagram, and I do notice this outward push in the ballet world to be more inclusive, racial diversity, different body types. It's so amazing that you can get point shoes in any color, and that so many ballet schools are now allowing dancers to wear whatever point shoe color and types makes them feel most comfortable, and I think that's a really, really great push. What I am noticing a lack of is a representation of grown-up dancers, both non-professional and professional grown-up dancers. And age is a form of diversity, because when we reach different ages, we bring something different. We bring different experiences. And ballet has, I will call ballet a bureaucracy. It really can be. It's very structured. And it is a bureaucracy that favors the young. I remember when I first signed up for ballet at the age of 9, on the very first note, on the very first count of my ballet exploration, I was told that I was starting late. I had this cautious welcome, or at best, but it really was a form of excluding me. And because of my age, at the age of 9. And that kind of left a flavor in my mouth that stayed with me for the several years after that I continued to study ballet. I did stick with ballet because I love it, because it brought me joy, but I always had more joy dancing it at home and practicing alone at home than I did in the studio. But nonetheless, because I was starting late, they still put me in the class with girls my age who'd been studying it for longer than I had. They had better technique than me, and because they had better technique and they were better, they got more feedback and more corrections. They got more performance opportunities. And as a classroom teacher now, I look back and I think just the quality of teaching in that particular moment, when you've got a student who's falling behind, you give them some extra attention. You don't take attention away from the students who are doing great. You still give them feedback that's going to help them advance, but I remember not getting very much feedback, and I was the student that needed a lot. And I at least looking back, hypothesizing, not having the words then, but having the reflection now, I think that was a form of excluding me because of my age. I'm 9 years old. And 9, maybe it's late to start if you want to be a professional dancer, but I've heard of quite a few dancers starting at 9 or later and continuing on to have beautiful dance careers. And so even that sentiment is not quite right. But nonetheless, for adults now, when they sign up for classes, there is still this whole are you here to sign up your daughter? Or if you go into a dance store, you need to be fitted for point shoes. Is your daughter here with you? This assumption that the adult themselves isn't there for themselves and isn't signing up for dance for themselves. So one of the ways to flip this narrative is to be more inclusive of the adults and to nurture the adults in the ways that I spoke about earlier. And the other thing you want to do for young adults, or for the young dancers and for the adults, is yes, you want to focus on technique, you want to have strong technique because it's a safety thing and all of that, but more profitable and for the ballet world and more impactful for the overall ballet world is developing a lifelong love of ballet for all students. that is going to get the ballet world so much further than focusing on doing a perfect tendu. Because that lifelong love of ballet, one, you're not going to have a resentful former student like me refuse to go and watch ballets for years on end because of the negative feelings I had around ballet. Two, you're going to have people who want to keep coming back and doing ballet throughout their childhood and throughout their adulthood, and paying money to go to see the big ballet performances at those big companies. And that brings me to my second point, is when you include and you nurture the adult ballet dancers, you are also inviting in our wallets to your studios. There are so many grown-ups out there who've always wanted to experience ballet but never had the opportunity as a kid. Maybe they weren't interested then, or maybe their family couldn't afford it, or they didn't live near a studio. Whatever the reason might be, as adults, we can discover ballet on our own terms and on our own dime. I have spent a shameful amount of money the past several years on ballet tuition, ballet gear, converting a room of my home into a mini ballet studio, tickets to professional and local ballets, including a cross-country trip to go see the New York City Ballet for my birthday, and now I've spent money on a ballet intensive, which was so worth the money. Thank you, Catherine Morgan and friends. So as you can see, by inviting the adults in, we would love to spend our disposable income on experiences like this where we feel we are getting something on a very personal and individual level, and that we are part of something greater. I now put San Francisco Ballet tickets on my birthday wish list and Christmas wish list every year, and I didn't do that for so many years because that sour bad taste in my mouth that ballet left when I quit ballet as a kid, because that feeling of I wasn't good enough or I was excluded. Now that I found a community, a wonderful teacher and coach and a wonderful studio, a community of adult ballet dancers online and people who are willing to nurture us, I am so willing to spend time and my income on these experiences and on the ballet world. And I know that the ballet world used to make their dollar on exclusivity. It used to be like, come to our show and see these very special few who could do these very impossible feats. But that doesn't quite work anymore. I mean, people can reach out with the internet and discover so much out there that they could be interested in, that, you know, if all we're getting from ballet is one night of, wow, that was cool, and then it's over, we're probably going to be looking elsewhere. And you'll always have those ballet fans who are moved by ballet and will regularly go, even without ever taking a ballet class. But by allowing more people into the ballet world and allowing adults to advance in the ballet world, you are inviting in so many more wallets. And you can't, you know, yes, ballet is an art form, but in order to keep the art form alive, you need to keep a business alive. So when you exclude people from ballet, a 9-year-old who's starting too late, or an adult who's finding the courage to come to a ballet class, or an adult who's looking to advance in their ballet training, you know, you're turning away patrons from the greater ballet world. One of the best outcomes of nurturing adult ballet dancers is that it makes all of us better humans. I mean, how can you not be growing as a human when you've got constant exposure to creativity, the support and love of other grown-up dancers, and being in a position to support and love them too. Great coaching, taking risks and meeting challenges. I mean, experiencing joy through dance. These are things that make us such better humans, and adults still need to be growing as humans as well, and ballet provides this opportunity. Ballet also provides a very important mental breaks from life that we need in order to be resilient and to go back into the other compartments of our lives. I mean, after an hour in the studio where you can't scroll your phone, you really have to be focused on the combo, on the technique, on the music, and enjoyment. Things look different after an hour in the studio because you've really disconnected mentally, and you've built up a resilience to go back to your life. And sometimes ballet is the challenge. I mean, we as adults, we get into such a routine of comfort zones and, you know, we're not exercising our courage, but we really need to be finding our courage on a regular basis to do things that are hard for us. And ballet offers a very regular place for us to be doing that. And also in ballet, you meet the best people. I've got quite a few ballet besties, and when you're an adult, it's hard to make new friends. You know, but if you go to ballet, a lot of the people who take adult ballet classes are very like-minded, they're very kind, they're courageous, and they really just are the best people, and it is a really great place to make some new friends in your adult life. And the biggest impact this has is ballet in this way is playing a larger role in the world, because we adults, we go to class and then we go back to our lives, right? We're the adults right now. We're the ones running the world. We go back to our families and our homes and engage with them with this growth we've experienced as a human. We go back to, for me, my classroom and engage with students with this growth as a human I've gained. We go into our corporations and work with people and work on teams. And in this way, ballet is having an impact on the world without anyone even buying a ticket to a show. Kind of in line with ballet making us grow as humans, for some of us, it might even feed back into our professional practices. And in different ways for different professions. I can only speak to teaching, but there's probably a lot of ways other people from other professions could gain and grow in order to go back to their professional lives even stronger. So as a teacher and as a classroom teacher, I teach reading and writing to middle school, and it's very important for me to remember what it's like to be a beginner. And ballet keeps me humble, and it keeps me in beginner mode. Even as I advance in my training, I am still learning how to do so many things and still feel like such a beginner all the time. And it helps me empathize with a 7th grader, for example, who is struggling to write an essay. And I have an analogy and a whole explanation that goes with it about how writing an essay is a lot like doing a pirouette, because you have to have a lot of rules, a lot of things in place at the same time. And I've actually used that with a couple of my students who also train in dance, and they get it. And actually, that's another thing that ballet has fed into my professional career, is I do have quite a few students in my classroom who also train as dancers, you know, after school. And when they know that I dance too and we can connect on that, I mean, if ballet helps me build even just with one student, a better individual connection, it's worth it. The other side of that is in ballet, you're in class. Like even the professionals take class. And I get so much exposure to great teaching and great coaching and different people and the way that they command a room or the way that they say things. And sometimes it's just their love and enthusiasm for their subject matter that inspires me to go back to my own classroom and remember to be authentic and be vulnerable with my students and remember to have grit and growth mindset. And you know, we have a saying in the education biz that good teaching is good stealing, and this is very true. The other thing is, ever since I've gone back to ballet, I still, you know, I'm an English teacher. That is the official job title on my contract, but I really started thinking of myself more as a reading and writing coach. And just that terminology change into coach has changed in a positive way that I think about student progress and the way that I approach working with students. And so in that way, ballet is fed into my professional practice in such a positive way. Another reason that the ballet world should be nurturing the adult ballet dancers is quite simply, we're going to be your favorite students because we have an incredible work ethic and we're choosing to be there. And when you are in a room full of people who are ready to work, who are excited to be there, who found the courage to be there and take corrections with, you know, meaningfully, you're going to want that energy in your studio and in your classes all of the time. And that energy comes from the fact that we're adults. We've earned that. We have life experience. We have work ethic. We know how to navigate the bureaucracy of work and school. We know how to run a household. We have the grit required, the grit and the growth mindset required to do ballet that so many younger dancers are still developing. And if you nurture us and make us feel welcome in your studios, we're gonna be your favorite people, we promise. The last reason I'm going to talk about for why the ballet world should nurture the adult ballet community is because we can be role models for the younger dancers. I spoke earlier of the importance of cultivating a lifelong love of ballet and how that's going to be more profitable and impactful for the ballet world at large than focusing on perfect tendus. And the way to bridge that gap and to create that lifelong love of ballet is for young dancers to see adult dancers, for them to dance with adult ballet dancers. Because when I was a kid, I never saw anyone older than a teenager taking class at my studio. And the oldest people I saw like put on ballet gear were the teachers. And this was one of the things that made me feel like my time with ballet had an expiration date and made me feel the need to, you know, explore other interests. And so if young dancers get to be around and exposed to and talk to adult ballet dancers, they're gonna gain all of that wonderful stuff that I talked about earlier that makes adult ballet dancers so amazing. I mean, they'll get to see our work ethic, our grit, our love for ballet, our sense of doing this because we love it. And most importantly, those young dancers won't feel like there's an expiration date on their time with ballet, because now that I'm back dancing ballet and loving it so much, I regret the years that I spent away from it, and I wouldn't want a single dancer to lose any time with ballet because they felt excluded. Guys, you made it to the end. Congratulations. I have a lot to say on this topic. And I do have a few more videos planned. My next video I'm planning is how to prepare for and pack for an adult ballet intensive, specifically. And I hope to have it out before Catherine Morgan and Friends August ballet intensive. And in case somebody has stumbled upon this video who's going to be going to that intensive, you know, don't forget to subscribe to my channel so that you can get a notification when that happens. I hope you guys will click like on this video, and I also hope you'll keep the conversation going in the comments if there's anything you'd like to add to what I've said about why the ballet world should nurture us, okay? All right, guys, happy dancing.